To Rainier Avenue Radio World. This is Women Empowerment Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Carmelle Bias. Oh, we are in the studio once again on a beautiful day here in Seattle, Washington. Yes, with our guest, Mr. Logan Hickle from the Better Business Bureau. Hey, Logan, how are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing pretty great. Can't complain.
Awesome. Glad to have you on the show with us today. We're going to be talking to Logan today about the Better Business Bureau, some of the services that they offer, and just all around, getting a better understanding of what the Better Business Bureau is all about. But before we jump in today's interview, I want to go ahead and give y'all some updates here. Women in Business Expo Group. All right, y'all. We have the website up. Things are great. Doing an amazing job out there, letting business owners know about the opportunities to put their products and services on our website. I mean, you can actually sell from this website. It's amazing, y'all. Definitely, you don't want to miss out. For those business owners that are out there looking for an additional stream of income, you can check us out. www.wibeg.biz. That is the Women in Business Expo Group website there, and like I said, it's definitely an opportunity to stay connected with other business owners. Again, that e-commerce site, able to sell your products and services on there. And then also to find upcoming events, things that are going on in the community. So again, you want to check that website out. It's www.wibeg.biz. Also too, Women in Business Expo Group, we have finished up our youth entrepreneurship program with Echo Glen Youth Detention Center, currently looking forward to working with King County, the Seattle Juvenile, y'all. This is a great opportunity for us as business owners to show our support for the young people it is. If you are a guest speaker, someone it is that's motivated, excited to talk to young people, we would love to connect with you, and be able to give you that opportunity, maybe to speak to some of the young people it is on our upcoming workshops it is that we have for the year 2024. So if you are interested, you can email us, womeninbusinessexpogroup@yahoo.com. You put in that subject line, Youth Entrepreneurship Program. That way there, we know what you're interested in and would love to have you on as a guest speaker to be able to support and empower the young people there. We've been encouraging them to take a different career path here, so we want to definitely show our support, provide them with the resources it is that they need, to help them transition and hopefully, take that step in entrepreneurship. So again, if you are a guest speaker, someone that is motivated and inspired to help young people, we would love to speak with you. Again, that email address is womeninbusinessexpogroup@yahoo.com. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and jump into our interview today with Mr. Logan Hickle from the Better Business Bureau, and find out a little bit more about exactly what the Better Business Bureau does for our community. Mr. Logan, why don't you go ahead and let our listeners know a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, thank you again for having me on. Really appreciate it. Excited about this. I always love the chance to just tell the story of BBB and what we do. It's not something I get to do often. Typically, it's very pointed conversation. So I love kind of general about BBB. It's wonderful. So for me, so I'm the PR and Communications Manager here at BBB Great West and Pacific. So there are 95 BBBs around the country, but ours, Great West and Pacific, we cover the whole state of Washington, but we also cover Oregon, Idaho, Montana. We also cover Alaska and Hawaii. Very lucky there. And then we also cover the Denver metro area and as well the Jackson Hole part of Wyoming. I am originally from Texas, born and raised in South Texas, moved to Florida for a bit, moved back to Texas, went to college in Texas, got a marketing degree from Sam Houston State University, eat 'em up Bearcats. And then went up to Boston for a couple years, followed my significant other up there while she was finishing her PhD. And then we made our way across the country, drove from Boston to Tacoma, Washington, now living down near Olympia. And we've bought a house here. We plan on staying here. We love it here.
Yes, yes. Well, sounds like you've done a lot of traveling here in your time.
Definitely. I mean, growing up and even now, we love cross-country road trips, though. We love seeing the country. We love taking our time with things. We love being that type of person that's like, ooh, what's that over there? Let's just take a look. So it was very thrilling, although we did drive cross country August 2020 in the middle of the pandemic before vaccines are available. So that was a little contentious, a little hard to navigate, but we made it safe without testing positive for COVID. So we're very thankful.
Yes, yes. Awesome. Why don't you go ahead, let our listeners know, what's the inspiration behind you becoming the PR communications manager with the Better Business Bureau?
Yeah. So for me, growing up, my mother always said, have you checked with the Better Business Bureau? Check them with the Better Business Bureau. Check with the BBB. Are they accredited with the BBB? What is their rating with the BBB? And that was even when I was a kid, right? I was hearing her say that to other people, not just me. I was hearing her communicate that. So when I saw this position come open just over 2 years ago now, I was thrilled. I was ecstatic. I was, chomping at the bit. I think I immediately started editing my resume, writing the cover letter. I was really excited for the opportunity to get to speak to people and communicate, help the public, because we are a nonprofit. We're a 501c6 nonprofit, similar to like a chamber. So we're a member-based organization, which we'll get into a little bit later. But just working on initiatives that keeps the local communities that we operate in safe and helping communicate that is something that I really wanted to put my energy and my efforts into. Something that I could see impact with was really important to me. And I like public speaking. I took public speaking classes in college. You wouldn't think that I like public speaking if you saw high school me. I was quite introverted. But then I worked with kids for 2 years. I coached gymnastics for 2 years. And when you're trying to lead a group of kids, you cannot be introverted. You got to command that situation, especially when it's a group of 12 kids. If you don't command that situation, things are going to go south real quick. So I credit the kids for making me come out of my shell, understanding how to speak to people, how to lead, and try to drive those conversations. And public speaking is something that's very dear to me, and I love kind of communicating, especially again when it's that local community, and I can see that impact. Or for example, with King 5 a few weeks ago, I was on King 5 NBC here in Seattle, communicating a contractor that we investigated and put out a press release on that was doing some unfortunate practices on door-to-door sales, not finishing jobs, leaving people high and dry after taking part of the money, tearing out their driveways, and then not finishing the job. So they're left with no driveway, just dirt. So things like that is something that I'm really passionate about, and very thankful that I was given the chance in this role. And so far, I'm liking it and don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon.
Awesome. Yes. We need people like you on the forefronts there for sure. And when it comes to business, and protecting our business, definitely that. Let me know this, Logan. You mentioned the Tacoma office there, the area that you cover there. Is there another office in Washington State?
So our Washington office is Tacoma. That's the only office we have in Tacoma. I am fortunate enough, I get to go across the state, though, Moses Lake quite frequently, and Spokane, Washington. I go over there every 4 to 6 weeks to speak with businesses and do a lot of media interviews. I work with the NBC station over there and record a lot of media interviews in studio with their morning anchors, which is a lot of fun. I love Spokane, so get the chance to go over there. Typically, they're pretty quick trips, but going over there and kind of spending the evening, exploring the town, running a 5K. I did that back in September over in Spokane. It's a lot of fun. So while Tacoma is our only office, we have employees across the state. We have 3 employees in the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho area. But we have multiple employees here in the Tacoma area, a lot of employees. Then we also have offices in Boise, Idaho, and then also an office down in Honolulu, Hawaii. But we also have employees in Oregon that work remote. We have an employee in Alaska that works remote. So we have employees kind of across the whole service area.
That's great to know. Definitely, for those out there that may be interested, contacting you at some point. But let's go ahead and let's talk about the mission statement. What is the mission statement for the Better Business Bureau, and when was it founded? How long has this organization been around?
Yeah. So again, this is what I love talking about. So thank you for giving me the chance to kind of, focus and hone in on this.
Yeah.
So the mission statement of the Better Business Bureau, just plain and simple, BBB's mission is to be the leader in advancing marketplace trust. So we do this a couple ways. So first of all, we set standards for marketplace trust, standards that we ask businesses to uphold. We encourage and support best practices by engaging with and educating businesses, but also consumers. A big part of my job is working with consumers. I work with businesses as well, but a huge focus is working with and educating consumers. We celebrate marketplace role models. So we actually just announced a few weeks ago our 2023 Torch Award for Ethics winners in Washington, and also our Spark Award for Entrepreneurship. So there's a small, medium, and large business of the year for the state of Washington, and then a Spark Award as well, which is a small business, an entrepreneur. So celebrating those marketplace role models is important. And then we also call out and address these substandard marketplace behaviors. You can call it substandard. What I gave that example of King 5, went on there talking about a contractor that was leaving some consumers high and dry. So we do that. And then we try to create that community of trustworthy businesses and charities as well. So we'll talk about this a little bit later, but when we're talking about, holding businesses accountable, creating that marketplace that consumers can trust businesses, and frankly, businesses can trust consumers as well, because it goes both ways here. We have 8 standards for trust that we look for all businesses to live up to, and we require our accredited businesses to adhere to. So just to run through those real quick. Those 8 standards are: build trust, advertise honestly, tell the truth, be transparent, honor promises, be responsive, safeguard privacy, and then lastly, embody integrity. All those are super important. One that I get asked about a lot, though, is safeguarding privacy. In today's world, cybersecurity and privacy and data privacy is extremely important. In a business of any size, it's incredibly important that you take that serious. A lot of small businesses and medium businesses, they think, I'm too small to be targeted. I don't have enough valuable information to be targeted by this. They're going to go look at the big box retailers of the world, those big companies, right? And try to hack them or get access to their systems. Well, that thought process right there is the exact reason that you will be targeted, that you could be targeted, is because you don't think you're big enough to have enough information. So you need to take that very serious. Now, regarding when we started, how did the BBB start? So Better Business Bureau, or the original form of Better Business Bureau, was actually started in 1912, so over 100 years ago, by Samuel Candler Dobbs of Coca-Cola, actually. A lot of people think, and I get this question all the time, a lot of people think we're a government entity, government agency, government funded in some way, shape, or form. But we were actually started as a self-governing group of Samuel Candler Dobbs. He wanted other executives in the industry to regulate themselves and adhere to advertising standards. So it's actually a group of executives from different companies that came together, including Samuel, obviously, from Coca-Cola, saying, let's regulate each other. Let's hold each other accountable. And that was really important to him. And really, he started at Coca-Cola as a sales manager. And what triggered it for him, he heard a company lawyer say, and this is the quote, "Why all advertising is exaggerated. Nobody believes it." And that's what made him take that step back and say, what do you mean it's exaggerated? Why don't people believe it? Why can't they believe it? Maybe because it is exaggerated, nobody's believing it. So let's hold each other accountable and make sure that our advertising is ethical, transparent, and frankly, just correct. So that's kind of where it got started. And BBB's taken many forms over the different years. Samuel eventually, at that time, he was a sales manager when he heard that company lawyer say that, but he eventually became president and chairman of Coca-Cola for a few years. And in 1912, he basically formed what eventually became the Better Business Bureau. It's had many forms over the years, but today is known as Better Business Bureau.
Yes. Wow. There's some history there, y'all, when it comes to the Better Business Bureau. Okay. Definitely that. And it sounds like there's for sure a strong structure there when it comes to trust. And that's important for us as business owners, is to have our audience, be able to trust us. That's one thing it is. I think that's very important, and especially starting out as a new business owner. So that's something it is that we want to take away as a key here from the Better Business Bureau here. Logan, why don't you go ahead, let our listeners know here, when it comes to the Better Business Bureau, is there a membership that is out there? And then also too, if yes, is there a cost?
Yeah. So when we're talking about, we have two markets, if you will. There's the consumer side and there's the business side. So for consumers, there's not a cost. The vast majority of our services are free for the consumer, completely free. And that's thanks to our accredited businesses that help fund us. There's a couple caveats there. We offer mediation and arbitration. And if the business is not accredited with us, then there is a cost there that if the consumer wants us to mediate or arbitrate something, they pay part of the cost and the business pays part of the cost. Again, if the business is not accredited with us. So, but vast majority of our services for consumers are free. But when I say where we're funded from, so we are funded by local businesses becoming accredited with us. Some view this as a membership. We view this as almost a commitment that the business is making to the BBB, the commitment that the business is making to the community by leading by example, right? That trust, putting that trust, being that shining example in the community. And then also that business is making a commitment to the people in those communities. There is a cost, and that cost is all dependent on the size of the business. So, and for us, that's when we say size of business, that's depending on the number of employees. That's what we look at when we say size of business. How many employees do you have? So that cost is dependent on the number of employees you have, and that fluctuates over time, right? If you get more employees, less employees. But to become accredited with us in the first place, you have to pass our manual vetting process. So a member of our standards team actually reviews your application and does some digging. They actually take a look at your online presence. They make sure you're registered or licensed appropriately, make sure insurance is in place. They look at reviews, takes a look at what other people are saying out there. They look at your website. They see if you're making unreasonable advertising claims. And if we do come across something that doesn't align with our 8 standards, those 8 standards that I mentioned earlier, we bring that to the attention of the business owner and we give them the chance to adjust or change. Because for us, it's important that if someone means well, we don't want to just shut them down and say, you're a bad business. If they want to become a better business, we want to coach them. We want to show them, hey, this is what the better businesses in your community are doing. So let's take a look at this. Let's see how we can adjust this. Maybe they don't have the insurance that's required by state law. Maybe the fun example I like to use, maybe they're saying number 1 in the Puget Sound. Well, who said that? Did your mom say that? Or did an independent third-party publication say that? Who said that? Let's take a step back. You can't say that if it was just your mom saying that. I mean, I agree. She probably does think you're number 1, but we can't, use that as an advertising claim, if you will. So it's important to us that we do take that time to coach businesses and allow them to respond, allow them to make adjustments, allow them to learn, because not everyone knows the ins and outs of business. They might know the ins and outs of their bakery. They might know the ins and outs of baking, of making great food for that local community, but they might not know the ins and outs of their taxes, of registering appropriately, of what they can and can't say in advertising claims. So we want to give them that chance to kind of take that step back and say, oh, okay, I did not realize that. Let's make that adjustment. So that's really important to us.
Yes, and it definitely is too. For those of you that are just tuning in, you are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. This is Women Empowerment Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Carmelle Bias. We are in the studio today with our guest from the Better Business Bureau, Mr. Logan Hickle. And we are discussing, the services it is that the Better Business Bureau offers us as business owners, as consumers. A lot of the things I think that the Better Business Bureau, does, we may not even know. And that's why I wanted to have you on today, Logan, was just to be able to educate our audience and a lot of the services it is that you offer, the benefits of being membership, and just have this conversation to hopefully be able to educate our audience and those that may be interested, now in becoming members and hopefully being partners and working together with the Better Business Bureau. So why don't you go ahead, let our listeners know, in detail here, some of the services it is that you offer, and what are the benefits of being a member?
Yeah. So our main benefit and the main thing that people know and recognize out there is our seal of being an accredited business. That seal that you see on shop doors, that seal that you see on websites, on social media, on business cards. And it says accredited business with our torch logo. You can see the torch logo right here on my shirt. That is the main image, the main seal that people look for. And the reason businesses come to us, because people recognize that seal. That's really important. Even if they don't, set out looking for that seal from the start, if they see that in your store, on your website, socials, wherever you may have it, that gives people a sense of confidence in doing business with you, because they know that you have agreed to uphold our 8 standards. And when you become accredited with us, we actually, our individuals on the phone, they actually get a voice recording of you as the business owner verbally agreeing that you will uphold our 8 standards. So we have a recording of you saying that, you'll uphold those 8 standards, and people know that they can trust you because of that. So in terms of, that's our main, bucket of why people come to us. But within that, there is so much. So once you become accredited, you also get a certificate saying that you're accredited. You can put that in your window as well. A lot of people use that at booths, like if they're doing home shows, anything like that. You also get access to your business portal. So this is where you can update your public-facing business profile on bbb.org. So it's important to note that you can actually get a business profile on bbb.org without being accredited. You can just go to bbb.org/getlisted, and you can get your company listed on bbb.org if you wish. But to get access to the backend business portal, to update information, to upload photos, logos, videos, put notices at the top of your business profile, things like that, you have to become accredited with us. So in that business portal on the back end, you can modify and customize it much more as that accredited business. And an important thing for businesses is once you become accredited, you can actually utilize what we call the get a quote button. So once you're accredited and people come to your business profile, there's actually a button on there that says get a quote. And that's where they can fill out a short form, and that comes right to you from your business profile. It goes right to your business email to provide a quote for your services to this customer. But also on this public business profile is where people will see your accreditation seal. So if you're accredited with us, they land on your business profile, they're going to see BBB accredited business. And they're also going to see the accompanying letter grade rating. So a lot of people know, you see people on the media saying, oh, they're rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau, or rated B, or rated F with the Better Business Bureau. So that will be on your business profile as well. And that's typically there whether or not you're accredited. So that does not have any bearing on whether or not you're, it's not tied to your accreditation. It does inform the accreditation. I believe you have to have a B+ or better to maintain your accreditation or become accredited with us. From time to time, you may come across a profile that says NR, which is not rated. That basically means we're collecting information on the business, or we don't have enough information on the business to provide an accurate or trustworthy letter grade rating. So it may say NR, if you will.
Yeah.
And then importantly, as an accredited business, you can also install, we call it a dynamic seal of your accreditation on your own website. So in that backend business portal, you can go get your dynamic seal. It's going to provide you a little snippet of code that you install on your own website. And that is actually, we say dynamic because it's live. At any point, someone can click on that. It'll go over to your bbb.org business profile. But also importantly, it updates. It updates, I believe it's every night. I could be wrong there, but it updates regularly to reflect your letter grade rating and your accreditation with your BBB business profile. So say you have an A+ and you're accredited. Well, that way, the logo on your website, the accreditation seal on your website, it will say your letter grade rating, and it will say you're accredited. If that drops to an A or A-, whatever that may be, it'll reflect that. If it goes back up to A+, it'll reflect that. So that dynamic seal is super, super important as an accredited business, because people can also click through it and see your business profile. And then we also offer kind of other outside services adjacent to that. So we offer design services, logos, logo packages, advertisements. We offer advertising on Google, and also local advertising like billboards and other physical signage, bus signage, anything like that. Wow. We also offer a toolbox for business offerings like building a website. We have a whole toolbox for that. We also do advertising reviews. Like I said, when I was talking about the origination of BBB, we started as advertising, holding each other accountable, different businesses. So we do offer advertising reviews. So you can submit your advertisements to us, and we'll take a look at them, make sure everything is above board, and make sure that everything is ethical and transparent. And again, if it's not, we don't say, hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? We say, hey, you may want to make this adjustment because X, right? We want to make sure that we're coaching you along the way, not just shutting anyone down. Yeah. And then lastly, and there's many other services, but for today's, for the time, the sake of time, we'll just mention one last thing. Importantly for small businesses, something that's really important to them is once you become accredited, and I alluded to this earlier, you also get access to our dispute resolution services. Yeah. So this is mediation and arbitration. So if at any point, I always, like to say, you can be the most ethical, transparent, honest business in the world. At some point, you're going to have an issue with a customer. Whether you view that customer as in the right or not, that is not for us to decide. But at some point, you're going to have an issue with the customer. You can come to us and you can utilize our mediation and arbitration services. So mediation and arbitration, those are us acting as a third party, hearing both parties out. Mediation is not legally binding. Arbitration is legally binding. So as an accredited business, you get that for free. If you're not an accredited business and you want to engage in that, there's a small fee, but that's split between you and the consumer that you're wanting to engage.
Yes.
Sort that problem out with.
Real quick, Mr. Logan, why don't you go ahead and give our listeners your contact information and where they can reach you?
Yeah, so my contact information, you can hit my inbox, logan.hickle @thebbb.org. So logan.hickle, it's like pickle, but with an H. Just put an H instead of the P. So logan.hickle @thebbb.org. That's going to be the best place. Land right in my inbox because I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. So I highly suggest just land right in my inbox.
Yes. I want to thank you, Mr. Logan, for your time this afternoon here with us on Women Empowerment Talk Radio. And I want to thank you, listeners, for tuning in. This is Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and I'm your host, Carmelle Bias. All right, y'all. Until next time.